This is Umar Ahmed for IFL TV in association with MTK Global, joined by Frank Warren over Zoom. What's with the dolphin, Frank?
Pardon?
What's with the dolphin in the background?
My mate Flipper.
Of course.
That's Muhammad Ali's book, the greatest of all time, and it's a special edition. And that's Jeff Koons. He's a famous artist. It was his creation.
Can you see what's on my background?
And a spare tyre.
You see what's on my background over there?
I see you. Got the man on the floor, haven't you? Old Sonny's on the floor there.
That's the one. Frank, I spoke to you and Tyson together after the show on Saturday night, but we didn't really have a chance to recap it in depth. Let's start with, I think, the best performance of the night. Sonny Edwards was in a real live fight, a somber, proper fighter, and Sonny cruised it throughout most of it. I mean, the 116-112 card was a bit surprising, Frank.
I think a lot of people thought it was going to be a very, very difficult fight for him. And I think he handled it really well. He really did box well. But he is a natural flyweight. He's not a super flyweight. He's not a bantamweight. He is a natural flyweight. And that's the weight he's got to fight at. And I sort of had a very brief conversation with him afterwards. And 3 pounds is a lot of difference for the smaller guys, for the smaller weights. It's a big difference. So that's the weight he's going to fight at. And we're going to move us heaven and earth to try and get him a title, a world title fight, if we can this year. That's what we're looking to try and do.
His pigtails caught everyone's attention as well. He was trending on Twitter.
Yeah, I thought you might look good with them as well. Though they look nice, didn't they? The old pigtails. I was quite shocked when I see that. No, he done. It was. They disappeared though during the fight, didn't they? They went somewhere. I don't know where they went.
They did, yeah. I mean, if you get them done, then I'll do it. But I'm not sure about doing it myself. Right?
I wish I had the Barnet to do it, mate. I might have to have one of them old boys' ponytails at the back. Grow one of them.
What did you make of the main event itself? Easy night of work for Daniel, really, Frank?
Yeah, it was. I think he just overwhelmed him. Too big, too strong, too powerful. And, look, it was what it was. We couldn't, we lost the Pfeiffer because of they're messing up with the medical. The next guy in was that's the best we could get. The restrictions of COVID is killing us in all ways in regarding finding opponents. There's no one in the UK. Dave Allen, we reached out for, and I think you've seen what he came back and said, and a couple of other guys we tried to get. So it was what it was. It's down to me. At the end of the day, the matches are made, and that's my responsibility. But Daniel did what he had to do. Was totally overwhelming. He's just too strong and too powerful for him.
Well, we know what path Daniel's going along, but David Adelaide, looks like you have another heavyweight sensation potentially. I mean, he was really impressive getting Phil Williams out there, who doesn't really get stopped much, Frank. Yeah,
he did well. I mean, he's very confident. It's a funny thing. Like, he weighed, what was he? He was only a few pounds heavier than Schneider. He's not a big heavyweight. He's a bit like Wilder. Wilder's not a heavy guy. He's a 15.5 stoner. So, he's a big guy. He's very fast. He's got fast hands. And it's only his third fight. He's got a long, long way to go yet. But the name of the game is to keep him busy, get experience. He's working hard in the gym. He's working in his sparring with some top quality guys. I mean, the number one heavyweight in the world used his services in his preparation for the fight against Wilder last time. So that's all great for him. He's been sparring with Daniel as well. He's coming along well, and I like him. I think he's got a way to go yet, but I think he's got a good future ahead of him.
The interview I did with him after the fight caught a bit of attention. He called out Fabio Wardley and Alan Babbage, which is quite interesting, Frank.
Well, look, that's his confidence level. He fancies them and he wants to do them. I think he'd fight anyone. He's got that mentality. Most fighters, most good quality fighters will fight anyone. They don't think about levels or where they're at. They just say they want to go and fight. They want to fight the best. It's my job to bring them through and, to temper at this stage of their careers what they think they can do. And I'm not saying they can't do it, but it's about, even if you got into a massive big fight and beat one of these guys, then what next? You've got to get experience, and you build it, get experience by working in the gym. It's not just the fights themselves at this stage of their career. It's all the work they do in the gym and picking up experience obviously once they are in the ring. But he's got a few fights to go yet, and hopefully maybe around his 10th fight we'll get him in for a title.
During the fight week, Frank, and a couple of weeks before, it felt like Dubois was really being pushed. And we know he's been in tougher and bigger fights before, but just there was a lot of talk around Daniel's name the last couple of weeks. And Steve Lillis put out the viewing figures for the show, and obviously it peaked at 400,000 and average 155. So, it seemed like all the hype around Dubois is paying off, and he's getting a lot of figures.
Well, I've got to be honest with you, Umar. You can use these figures to suit yourself. At the moment, it suits us to say, great. They're not reliable. Barb figures are not reliable. So I'm going to say how it is. Obviously, the amount, the peak was 4 times the amount, or nearly 4 times the amount, as according to the Barb ratings that Dillian Whyte did. But I don't believe these figures. I don't think I think they're a bad reflected, very old-fashioned standard. Since lockdown, according to Barb, the 2 highest rated shows have been our shows. I think Cole Frampton and headed up by Cole Frampton, obviously the one with Daniel. But the figures for me, they are what they are. They say, Barb said that White Povetkin was 114 peak. We know it's pay-per-view. But that's based upon it. That's the numbers they're saying it was around. And remember, a lot of the shows on Matchroom were going out on free-to-air. Ours are behind a paywall with BT. So when you look at that and look at our numbers, we've done, according to Barb, we've done well. But you know what? I don't care. I look at some of the other stuff that's gone out. I've got to look at them because I'm old and my memory won't retain it. But last week, for example, total views with BT was 10.7 million. Twitter views, 2.2. YouTube and YouTube views and watch time, 3.2 million, 253,000 hours. Instagram 2.1, Facebook 3.2. So we're getting the message out there. Even like with Adelaide, just over 1 million views. Twitter views 113,000. So we are through the combined, media. The combined media of today, how it all works. We're getting our fighters' names out there, and they're doing quite well. So, from a promotional point of view, I'm absolutely pleased with that.
I see you had a lunch with Jason Statham and Tyson on the Sunday. How was that?
Yeah, we went over. My friend's over. He's a really good close friend, and we do some stuff together called Robert Earl, who owns Planet Hollywood. So we went to his place down in. He's staying on Paul Getty's estate, or the Getty estate. So we went down there. There was Jason. Robert, his son-in-law Thomas, who produced Gangs of London.
Oh yeah, great series that.
Yeah, so we had quite a discussion about what happened in Gangs of London with was it one of the gypsy gangs were sort of knocked out of business on there, and Tyson was there, and
yeah.
So it was good. We had a nice day, and they had their wives along. Paris was there, and so forth. So it was a nice afternoon.
Okay, so after Saturday's win for Daniel Dubois, we've seen the WBO have pushed him up the rankings. There is now USYK at number 1, Joseph Parker at number 2, and 3 is Daniel Dubois. Now, this might be an interesting situation because USYK's guys have come out and said, we are not, stepping aside for a Fury-Joshua fight. You either fight us, Joshua, or you'll have to vacate. So if that is the case and Fury Joshua do make the fight, we could potentially see USYK Dubois for the WBO title. I'm sure you and Daniel will take that in a heartbeat, Frank.
Yep.
That was short and sweet.
That's it. We'd go with that fight, yeah.
How do you think the fight plays out between USYK and Dubois, Frank?
I think, obviously Daniel's a much bigger guy than USYK. USYK's got tremendous experience and he's a very, very capable fighter. He's had fights at heavyweight now, as we know, former cruiserweight. But I think Daniel, with his youth and his power, I think it will be an easy fight, but I fancy him to beat.
I'm guessing Martin Bowers is fully on board with this as well, Frank.
Yeah, we've had conversations about that. He is, and it's something we would do. If we've got to do it, we'll do it. It's a great opportunity. What's the worst thing that could happen for us is that he got beat. He's 23. He just turned 23, so it ain't the end of the world. But I don't even look at it like that. I really fancy him to come through.
Eddie Hearn made some comments saying, why don't we do Dubois Hrgovic? What did you think about that, Frank, if you heard it?
Look, the offers are, him and I need to sit down. We're still waiting to sit down, aren't we? Not from my end, I'm ready to go. But the offer I made to him, bar one fight, which was Liam Williams and Andrade, which now has been called for by the WBO. So that's done. That's out. That's got to be done, whatever happens. It was Brits fighting Brits. That's what we were interested in doing. If you remember, for the British fans, this is what we want to deliver for the British fans. We look at those fights. And I don't we keep going on and on and on about it. It's becoming quite a bore now, including the Dillian White fight. But they were the fights we were talking about. So when we sit down, if ever we sit down, let's discuss them.
Well, I think you said that he was going away or wanted a week off. So are you just literally waiting for a call from him now?
That's how it was left. So okay. I'm waiting for the call.
We saw the WBO also put out that Jack Catterall has been ordered to fight Jose Ramirez, obviously just won against Postel. Yep. So really good news for Jack. He's been waiting for ages, Frank.
Well, he has. There was an agreement that Ramirez could have a fight in between, and obviously this COVID thing's knocked everything sideways. It's gone backwards and backwards, and Jack's been sitting there very patiently. And he's a good quality young fighter. I mean, he's been with me from day one, and I really, really do rate him. And I watched that fight, Ramirez fight, and it sort of heartened me as far as Jack's concerned. I think he's very powerful, Ramirez. He's a good puncher. Jack's a good boxer, and I think he's got a good chance of beating him. So we want to get that on as soon as possible.
Okay, just before I let you go, Frank, let's just run through the schedule. You've announced a lot recently. So September the 12th, see Anthony Yard is back in action against Spellman. Heffron Bentley is obviously catching everyone's eyes, and Nathan Gorman's back.
Cracker, isn't it?
Well, Heffron Bentley, yeah.
Well, I can't wait for that. I really am looking forward to that one.
Yeah, hopefully Anthony Yard can come through that, and then the Lyndon Arthur fight is there, Frank.
Yeah, we want to do it before Christmas. We want to get that away. Maybe late October, early November. But he's obviously got to get through him, and I'm quite confident he will do that. At least I hope he will. And then we're ready to go with that one.
When are you going to speak to Richard's Lighty team? You might have to try and get him in early, considering what happened last.
Well, they're working it. The boys in the office are working on it. It's all about this visa situation, and obviously, normally you won't have a worry about this. You announce the fight, and I know people say, you announce fights sometimes when you haven't got the visas and that, but we always get through them and get the guys through. But we've got to be very careful in it and ensure that everything regarding the health issues and so forth are all spot on. But I'm really hoping that fight comes off because Nathan really wants it, and I'm looking forward to seeing Nathan back in again.
September 26th, obviously a world title fight with Josh Taylor's mandatory defence, and Charlie Edwards is going to make his Frank Warren debut.
It's Carl Williams, so we're looking forward to that one as well. I'm looking forward to getting him out there, and that's going to be a good show. Josh Taylor, it's his mandatory, so two-time world champion. Don't get no better than that, does it? He's a quality fighter, no doubt about that.
Frank, if Charlie is to come through on the 26th, I spoke to him and he's bang up for this Cowie FI fight,
Well, let's see what we do. Let's get this meeting on. Everything goes back to the meeting.
Seems like it does, yeah.
All roads lead to the meeting.
And then October 10th, obviously Liam Williams, who's probably the most improved British fighter in recent times, Frank. He's back in action. I
agree with you. He's reinvented himself, hasn't he? Since he's gone up a weight, and he's obviously enjoys working with Dominic Ingle. He's looked a different guy altogether. I mean, he's looked devastating. And his last fight, I know it was a while ago, but he just looked so commanding. From as soon as that bell went, he was the boss of the fight and did what he had to do. And, I'm a big fan of him. Again, he's been with me from day one. We've delivered a game for him. So this fight's on, but it might be subject to the WBO. It may be a position where he has to withdraw from the fight because of the purse bids, because of the regulations. So we're working on that at the moment. But if he has to withdraw, then he'll do that because there's no way I can let him lose his position against Andrade. But he wants to fight. He's been out a long time. We want to make sure it happens. But that is all down to, at the end of the day, where we are with the WBO and Andrade.
So whether he fights in October or not, it looks like that Andrade fight will be this year, Frank. End of the year.
It's gotta be, yeah. That's what the rules. That's what the WBO said. So let's see where we go with it.
Also on that bill, Kakachi, who had a brilliant win over Sam Bowen and Leon Woodstock's trying to get back at the top. Really, he can do that with a win over Kakachi.
Well, it's Kakashi looked brilliant last time. He'd done a good job. And as for Leon, you just said this is his way back. So he's got to go out and make a statement. It's a make or break fight for Leon, and he's got to get out there and show the world what he's got.
Now, the likes of Dennis McCann, Hamza Shiraz, I'm guessing there's news going to be coming soon. I'm sure you want them out in action soon, Frank.
Yes, we do, and we will have them out soon. I mean, they both had tremendous performances since the lockdown. I mean, again, that was. When we came back, Umar, when we did, we came back. We did a softly approach, as you know, with bringing Brad in. Brad Foster, by the way, I still don't think he gets the accolades he should get for a guy who's had 0 amateur experience, has won a Lonsdale belt, 4 fights, you've got to do it these days, in his 15th fight. I mean, it's brilliant what he did, but he's sort of bit under the radar a bit, and I really do rate him. I think he's a good young fighter, and he's learning all the time. But we started off softly, but the objective was to get these guys some exposure, and we've done that. We're stepping it up each time now, and now the next tranche of shows are a bigger step up. So it really works, and it's got people talking about Hamza, it's got people talking about Dennis and so forth, and Brad. So that worked for us.
Okay, we'll leave it there, Frank Warren. Thank you very much for talking to IFL TV. I'm sure we'll have a catch up soon again. All right, Frank?
I look forward to it. Stay safe and well, mate.
Thank you. Cheers, Frank.
See you. Bye, mate.